Hey there, thanks for tuning in. We are here with one of the His Hands Support Ministries Cuba teams that just got back a little over a week ago, and they're here to share a little bit of how their trip went at one of the nursing homes in Cuba, and where they were being a blessing to some of the residents there. And we have with us, we have Fred and Minetta
Yep.
and Dalen, and I'm Pastor Hal. I oversee the missions team here at Cornerstone Family. So, Fred, you have a couple of stories. We'll start off with one that was that impacted you as far as on this particular trip, because this is one of many trips to Cuba that you've been on.
Yes, I've been traveling to Cuba since 2012 with another ministry, and we provide food and water purification systems and eye care. I've been doing that, like I said, since 2012. But this time I was privileged to join His Hands for Cuba ministry team with Minetta. She facilitates it, and Dalen, and these girls, are these women, are wonderful servants. Believe me, all their ministrations for the people were so loving and I don't know, just impressive to me. I've been many
What were
times.
some of the things that you saw them doing with some of the residents?
I saw them touching them, kissing them, praying for them, crying with them. And Minetta speaks fluent Spanish, of course, and she was able to detail some details about their lives in the past and conditions under which they were living in the past, and how things were a little bit better than at the Hogar, this facility where they're staying. And she told me a little bit of background on several when she was interviewed. She interviewed every single resident there, several members of the staff there, and she did a great job. And I only regret that I can't speak better Spanish. Some wonderful people, and both these women love these people, and the residents there just.
And the residents there, they don't have a lot of other people in their
No.
lives, do they?
No. There was one individual there
Mm-hmm.
that Minetta was praying for, and she was expressing herself because she was there as a last resort. She had no other supportive family members. She only has the staff there and the things that this ministry provides for her.
Wow.
And it's very touching.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Carmen. That
Yeah.
was Carmen.
Oh.
She did.
Now, Fred, we're going to come back to you because
Sure.
I want to touch on something that you had mentioned earlier about some of your background and how it gets applied on this trip.
Sure.
But Dalen, you had a number of experiences there, and then something that I think you want to share with our viewers.
So last time, it was really neat to be able to make new connections and everything. And this time, going in, I felt more comfortable, going up to people on my own and, just being with them. And this time it was really neat to have newer conversations with the people, that I might not have talked to as much last time. And one time, we're talking, me and a woman named Palmera, and she, we're talking, and she just like, I kind of understood, not too much. I just was like, nodding, yeah, okay. And I asked Minetta, hey, can you help me? Just want to know what she's saying. And she asked Minetta, like, why are you in our conversation?
Yeah.
Where
She was holding Dalen's hands like this, like holding it. She's sitting in a wheelchair. She's staring intently at Dalen's eyes. And Dalen's like, can you find out what she's really saying?
I was like, I feel
really
like I'm
wanna
supposed to
know.
know this.
And she looked at me, she goes, why are you in our conversation? I'm talking to her. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Oh, so I looked at Dalen and I said, I'm so sorry. She said she doesn't want me to mind my business. So
That's fine. You were just trying to help.
I was trying to help. And she was like, we're fine.
And it's like, it's so cool to like think that, we were having a conversation and, we were making that connection. And
that's cool.
that meant a lot to me knowing that they felt that way too.
That's awesome.
The
That's
bond was
awesome.
love,
Yeah.
care for one another. That was
Yeah,
the bond.
yeah.
Right.
It was almost like sounds like almost a spiritual connection between
Right.
you and her. You know, so that's cool.
Yeah.
And so, well, good. I'm glad.
Yeah, there wasn't a language. So many people think when you go on a mission trip and you're in another country that maybe you don't speak the language, you think that that's a barrier. But really, love crosses all the barriers. It really does. And it's in the way you look, it's in the way you touch. It is in just the trying to understand them and being present in that moment. It's a huge difference for
That's
these,
cool.
for
Well,
these
we're
people.
all really proud of you as a team, and when you come back and share these stories with us, it's super encouraging to us to know that you're having that kind of impact and that kind of success on these trips. Now, Fred, let's go back to you for just a minute. So, what is your background? You know, as far as just vocationally, your career path in years gone by. What have you been doing?
Well, since 1970,
1970.
my business is lease commercial washers and dryers
Okay.
to motels, hotels, condominiums, campgrounds, wherever the need is. And they asked me to take a look at their laundry equipment, which is in dire need of repair
Oh.
and replacement. And
So you were at the
At the
home.
God,
there
yeah.
is there's a floor where this woman, very hot, this woman's trying her best to take care of all the linens, and
Ugh.
do all the laundry there, with really substandard equipment. And one
How
of the-
old? How old was the equipment?
Oh, I
Like
don't have any way
60s
of
era or
placing a date on it.
wow.
But it's
It's old. It's old. It's
Yeah.
old.
Yeah, older than the stuff I use.
Right.
Yeah.
And they just had one repaired, several $100s, and the timer was bad.
Ah.
And she says, I can get it to wash, but it won't spin out. So the timer would not advance. It's a fairly simple repair,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't have the resources.
Yeah.
They don't have
The parts and things. And,
Yeah.
the technicians. They don't have the people who are
Mhm.
talented enough to do that. And some of the equipment is Russian, some of it was
Oh,
Chinese. And
wow.
it'd be hard to get parts for.
Yeah.
But that
Were you able to use any of your skills to do
no,
anything?
no. I
Just
could diagnose the problem.
Yeah,
You
he
could
did.
diagnose
He
her.
did. He did. He filled the washer.
oh,
He pulled the plug out. We got the plug out. We kind of filled it up, and it took a long time to fill. Remember, because their water
Very,
pressure is
very
really
low.
low.
Oh,
That's typical throughout Cuba.
right,
Very
right.
low.
Wow.
We have like 40 pounds PSI here in the
Mhm.
States. You don't see that.
But for me, it was great because they came to us and like, do you think Fred could help? And so Fred went up and he's like, finally, something I can do. And he did. He tried, bless his heart. He went up there, looked at that washer. We got it filled.
Good.
And he was able to tell them it was the timer, which
Right.
was really cool,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
they didn't know what it
Absolutely.
was. They really weren't sure. So it was great.
So that's interesting. So when I think a lot of times when we're asking our church family and others to join trips, they're not thinking that they're going to be able to use some of the skill sets that they may have, in their life,
Right.
story and their history, and be able to apply those on the mission field. So that's a pretty cool story too.
Yeah, it is a cool
So
story.
just because we're running out of time a little bit, I did want to come back to you, Minetta, because you had a story that you wanted to share. I want to make sure.
Yeah,
we
I just
get this
I
out.
just wanted to say that going there this time, I had to postpone my trip because of an illness, and they were so receptive. They were so worried about me, and the thing that impacted me the most was that just as much love as I have for them, they had that for me. They were, every single one of them were worried about me. They were so happy to see me that they hugged and kissed on me and just told me how much they had been praying that God's mercies would be on me. And then as I left this time, as you go, it's not that your heart gets hardened, but you're more able to deal with the changes. I left with so much, it was a short trip because we only went for 3 days this time. And they left, I left many of them crying. And so they hugged me and said, when are you coming back again? When are you coming back? And there was this one special lady that she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might have to leave this place. Where will I go? And her name was Angela. And I came back home And her story touched me so much that I shared that story in the last few days, and someone went ahead and sponsored her.
Oh.
So it's really great to know that that she doesn't have to worry, that she is going to have a place. And I told her, don't worry, God's going to take care of everything. But lots of changes there, and they're still doing really well. And
that's
they
great.
really so much appreciated. We ended up taking 40 pounds of pasta that this church brought together.
Wow.
We took 100 pounds of milk with monies I had received for donations. We took, all kinds of stuff, medical
great.
supplies too, from donations that we were able to take, that not necessarily the Oh God will use all at once, but antibiotics, things like that they
Right.
have in facilities close by. And it's just been a blessing.
Oh,
It's
that's
been a
awesome.
blessing. So
That's awesome. Well, again, our church family we were asking them to pray. I know they were praying.
Yes.
And they were excited. They were cheering when we talk about it, and they would clap
Yes.
and everything and
Yes.
applaud. And so everybody's really proud of you guys for doing this. And do you think you'll go back?
Oh yeah, the next
probably.
trip is planned the 29th
Okay.
of September to the 5th
Okay.
of October.
Right.
So check it out online.
That's right. And you can go to cornerstonefamily.com, click on the missions page, and this interview will be there. And then also some other debriefs of other trips that have gone on and upcoming trips that maybe even you could figure out a way that you could pray, send somebody, or maybe even go yourself. Thanks again for watching.